All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome MSAD 75 to tonight's Thursday, September 11th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Directors will now come to order. Before we begin, I was going to let anybody know that would like to sign up to speak to do so, but it does not appear that we have anybody looking to do so. So we will keep things moving, and I will hand it off to Heidi for roll call.
Okay, William Beatty,
Present.
Andy Beegan,
Present.
Holly Kavna, Jessica Damon,
Present.
Tony Goncalves,
Present.
Gregory Greenleaf, Hudson Hayward,
Present.
Haley Kulis,
Present.
Ryan Larson,
Here.
Jim Moulton,
Present.
Kim Pacelli,
Here.
Amy Spelke,
Here.
Frank Wright,
Present.
and Mary Hobson.
Here.
All right, and with that, we'll stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag, the United States God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The adjustments to the agenda have been made in onboard, and so they are all marked as added. I would entertain a motion to accept the agenda adjustments.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. With that, we will move to public comments. Anything? All right. We are moving at light speed this evening and we'll keep it going. We are now on section 5, which is our consent agenda. I believe I would entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. We'll let any discussion, anybody requests on anything here? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Thank you, that was unanimous. And congratulations and thank you for those that are going to be joining the team. Great call. That's in there. We do have some new hires in there and we would like to call that out. Let you know we appreciate you joining us. Moving now on to item 6, recognitions and acknowledgements. The first item, we'd like to take a moment of silence in memory of the 24th anniversary of September 11th. All right, thank you for that. Moving on, we would like to recognize and express a tremendous amount of gratitude and appreciation to all the staff, administrators, teachers, staff, everyone that has contributed to the successful opening of the 25-26 school year. It's a monumental effort to get the preparation and everything that comes to it, and we are grateful for how well things have gone these first week or 10 days now. So I'm excited for the year that's ahead. 6.3, we have recognized a new student representative, Will Aegis. He is joining us this evening and he is first year of 2, so we'll get to know you pretty well, Will. If there's anything you'd like to say, you're welcome to. No pressure and no need to, but if you do want to say anything, feel free. And we'll ask you to use your mic if you do want, or a mic.
All right. So I am a junior here at Mount Ararat. I'm from the great town of Harpswell. I just want to thank Dr. Hoffman for selecting me for this role and for all of you for approving me. I know that this is a big responsibility and it's not one that I take lightly. I really admire and respect all of the work that you do. And if I can help address the academic and non-academic needs of learners across this district in any way, I will call that a success. So thank you all again.
Thank you, Will, and really well said. And that's something that we've talked with Heidi, is getting more and more student engagement and things. So we're excited to have you here and help drive that. So welcome. Next, we'd like to recognize on August 30th, the Mount Ararat hockey or field hockey team hosted a tournament to benefit breast cancer research. I think Heidi might have a little information about how successful that was.
Yeah, thank you to the field hockey team, not only Mount Ararat's field hockey team, but the teams in the area. They've raised right around $12,500 this year. That's an amazing amount of money.
All right, and now we will move on to board announcements and correspondence, and there are none at this point. So we will keep moving. We have reports and presentations. And first up is Amanda Johnson, and I bet you didn't know we were going to get to you this quickly, but we're excited to hear. Whatever's best for you. If you want to use the screen and talk from here, we'll probably move around a little bit so we can see better.
Appreciate it. All right. Hello, thank you. I appreciate being asked to be here. I was just going to give an overview if you're not familiar with our innovative grant, or an update if you are familiar, on our Good Brains on the Go innovative project. So we're starting our second year of the project. This is a 4-year project that we have been asked to be a part of. And the whole purpose of it is to transform school nutrition menus. We're trying to add in more local and minimize the process and the prepackaged. And this project ties directly into our goal as a district to reduce sodium and reduce sugar, and continue to make healthier choices for the students. So this is just an overview of that. So why we chose the Good Crust. So we started partnering with the Good Crust about 2 years ago. We loved the product. It was the main local grain product. The students loved it. It was a better alternative from the pizza that we were currently serving. And it was one of the packages you could read the label, you knew what the ingredients were. There were 5 ingredients and they were all things that you could pronounce. So it was a no-brainer that this was a better choice for our students. As we continued to work with the Good Crust, we started to get to know their team. So this is Heather. She's the CEO and the founder of the Good Crust. Working alongside her and her colleagues, we learned that the Good Crust was more than just good pizza. It is a company that really harbors a good workplace for their people. So Heather is an occupational therapist as well. And we found that she hires primarily people who have lost opportunities, or have had traumatic events in their lives and they can't work, and she employs them and she gets them back on their feet. So as we learned about that, not through Heather, she's very humble. It just felt like this was the right company to work with because they're not just good pizza, they're just good people. So doing a lot of good things. The Good Grains on the Go team. So we are a little piece of a big pizza. We're working with the Good Crust. The USDA Full Plates Full Potential gave us the $1.5 million. Maine Agriculture in the Classroom, Maine Grains, who the owner of Maine Grains is actually Heather's twin sister, and the Maine Grain Alliance. So we have 3 professional bakers and chefs that we work directly with to prepare all these new products. We are the represented school district, and we are also working with the Aroostook County District. So it's a very unique and small group of people making a big difference. So our role in this is to test the new products. We get free product all the time. We go to schools. We spent a lot of time at all of our schools last year, and it's truly directed by student feedback, which is very cool. So we brought dinner rolls, we serve them, we cook them with the team, and then we go out and we ask the students for their feedback. There have been products that we've scrapped because of the student feedback, and these are K-5 students primarily that are giving us feedback. There have been new products that came from it. So, we took a survey at one of our tastings with some Woodside students, and they wanted to see hot dog and hamburger rolls, and we just launched those out and we're testing those next week. So this is so student driven. It's really incredible. The purpose of this is that our students like it and we can scale it and replicate it to a price point so that it can become pre-packaged and we can distribute it to all schools in Maine. So it's not just an opportunity for our district, it's for the whole state. The goal within the 4 years is that it will be nationwide. And because of that, we are actually being recognized at the Healthy Meals Summit in Las Vegas. So it's very exciting. Thanks. So the other piece of this is not just to give students good food, it's about teaching them how to eat well. So we're also tying into a curriculum for learning and development, which is something passionate to me. I'm currently pursuing my education degree, so it's really exciting to do both things that I love. So we go in, we have done very informal while students are eating in their 20 minutes, we're running around and we're holding up posters and we're talking about grain and agricultural education. And we've done more formal things like I went with Heather to a 4th grade classroom at Woodside and we did Maine agriculture and we talked about scarcity in agriculture and business and we did hands-on cooking demonstrations. So we do a variety of different things. And then the other perk to it is that we received $25,000 a year, every year for the 4 years for equipment. So this is a picture of the oven we bought last year. It is a state-of-the-art oven, and the purpose is to be able to provide better, fresh, local food. So this oven cuts the cook time in half and makes the food more fresh. It air fries, it self-cleans. So in the event, like right now, we're doing scratch cooking, we're making our own tomato sauce. It used to take us 45 minutes to an hour to roast the tomatoes to mash them, and now we do it in 15 to 20 minutes. So, and we got this for free. It's a $25,000 oven. So it's fantastic. The project scope. So again, we're a slice of pizza out of a big pizza. This project is huge. It is about brain education. So we are doing in-kitchen demos with our staff and other staff in Maine, just to teach them about how to use the product and the importance of local ingredients. We are doing the student taste testing and teaching them. As far as curriculum goes, so I actually we're putting together, and it's called an ag mag. So it's an agricultural magazine. So we'll put these together regularly and there will be enough for every student in our district. And it's just fun, educational about Maine grains and local produce and agriculture. We have, I'll hand this over to Beth. We have a grow your own pizza kit that we started. We're putting together a children's book and we're putting together a curriculum. So over the course of the 4 years, we could just hand this to a teacher and they have posters and POP and content and a curriculum to teach Maine agriculture. We are working with growing distributors. So we are trying to get distributors on board so we can, make this product, package it, price it at a sales point. So all schools in Maine have access to local and fresh, and they don't have to have the labor and the time. The product innovation really comes from our students. So when we started with the Good Crust, they had dough balls and 16-ounce pre-sheeted. We came up with the 2-ounce ready fills. So that was something direct feedback from our staff that is now one of their top sellers. We came up with the calzone shells. The students specifically requested the dinner rolls. The breakfast pockets is something they're putting together right now, which were requested by students, hot dog and hamburger buns. So this is direct feedback from our students, and then we're putting it to life and in promotion. And then at the top, so the storytelling, the video documentary. We are documenting this whole project. Some of you, if you are in Parent Square or have a child, thanks. Makes sense. May have seen the video, but I'm going to share it at the end. It's really emotional. It's really powerful. to kind of see this whole piece and how many different hands are making such a difference. So it's a really big project. We're not the only ones who want to share on the success. So we're also trying to work with local companies. So we are partnering with Harvesting Good Broccoli to get broccoli to put into the pizzas and the calzone. We're working with Lyman's for blueberries, Pineland Farms for cheese and meat. So these products, as they become less about grains and more about a ready. Okay. That's okay. Wardrobe change. No. I'm good. Good? I'm back. So, oh my gosh, so loud to hear yourself. Oh dear. So, so we're working with other local farms so that they can be in on this and they can share their product. So for example, it started as just a dough and now the new breakfast pocket is filled with cheese and potatoes from Pineland Farms. So we're working with local just to make sure that all of this is ready. And these are products that are coming in, they're frozen, staff just has to thaw and serve. So making sure everybody gets a part of it. And then the grain education outreach. So like I was telling you, this is more than just having students eat well. It's really about teaching them and kind of building that habit for a lifelong. So these are pictures from our schools. The one in the middle, so Heather joined me at Woodside for a tasting. We had some of the wheat there. We let the kids do the mill, and then they took the flour back to class and they made some bread with it. The kids get to touch it and smell it. And we do this in a 20-minute lunch session. Like we are making sure that they are learning things. And then there's, again, situations where we're in the classroom and it's more formal and more informative. But we're really trying to make sure that they understand where their food's coming from. So I wanted to share with you the documentary. So this documentary is really cool. They came and started filming it at Woodside last November. And I think what is so powerful about this is, so the younger students in the video are ours, from our district. They had no information beforehand. We didn't coach them, we didn't talk to them. It was the night before they were coming to do a dinner roll tasting, and they said, can we just start shooting tomorrow? I said, let's do it. So we pulled media release forms. The teacher helped us get a handful of kids, and these children were so passionate and so articulate, and it just kind of speaks volumes to what they have learned in this short period of time. So enjoy this video. Maybe. Oh, please. Hopefully. It's tired. It's had a long day. There we go. All right.
Schools face a challenge balancing nutrition, affordability, and convenience, often at the expense of local foods. Good Grains on the Go aims to change that.
There's no reason schools can't be having local products and they can't have these fresh items for their students.
I want them to experience joy in the cafeteria. I want them to be excited to step in and eat those meals.
Its crust was really like crunchy and like crisp, and that was really good.
And I really like those pizza crusts. They were good.
It can taste better, and they can start connecting the dots of that maybe eating healthy can be local, and maybe it's not that hard.
And we're eating local fruits.
I want to design products that they're psyched to eat and that they want to eat and that are healthy and exciting for them to enjoy.
To see kids excited about how this is made or that it's made here in Maine is really refreshing.
Crunchy, doughy in the middle. Like this normal pizza crust, only like 3 times better.
That makes me feel better that I'm eating healthy.
Isn't that what it's about? Giving kids what they need, something healthy.
The pizzas were really good.
Good Grains on the Go is a 4-year project focused on transforming school breakfasts and lunches with locally sourced, minimally processed, and ready-to-bake foods using Maine-grown whole grains.
I was inspired to start the Good Grains on the Go project as a natural outgrowth of some of the work that we have been doing in school nutrition kitchens.
4 years ago, we began with dough balls, and we've just continued to innovate, designing products such as a filled hand pocket for schools, a 16-inch shell, which has been really a rewarding process.
By partnering with Maine farmers, food producers, agricultural educators, school nutrition directors, and student eaters, we're making it easier for schools to serve convenient, nutritious meals while strengthening our local food system.
Bringing grains to the schools brings awareness to the kids as they're growing up, that they can eat local, they can get something that was grown local, they can support their local economy. And the more local food you can eat, the more everybody locally benefits.
I think it's important because the students should know where their food's coming from. We don't know what's in some of the food that we get that's prepackaged. I think it's important for students to be aware of, not only what they're eating, but how they're impacting the community and how much of a bigger picture this is and how important it is.
More local foods is an easy opportunity to bring more joy into the classroom, bring more joy into the cafeteria. And I think by doing so, it'll also expose students to the wonderful bounty that we have here. And that can only have a beneficial impact on their growth and development and on Maine's future.
Today, we're baking our newest product, 2-ounce ready-to-fill rounds for about 200 students, see what they like, see what they don't like, and how we might be able to improve the product so that we can bring it to more schools. Schools are very busy, and our customers at schools are very busy. So we're focused on understanding what their needs are, understanding how we can create delicious whole grain products that save our customers time.
They support us. They listen to what we say. It makes it really nice for us to have a partnership. Working alongside the good crust, they're easy to get a hold of, they're easy to deal with, and their product is wonderful.
Field to the mill, to the dough, to the tray, this is local food in action. Kids aren't just eating differently, they're learning differently. They're discovering where food comes from and how it's made.
Being here at the Northeast Livestock Expo is so special for us at the Good Crust because we get to be in front of 2,500 school children who are the primary customers for our products. When we show up at an event like this, we love to focus on the fun inherent in good food. My hope is that projects like these educate students about making healthy eating choices, sourcing from local producers, and eating more nutritious whole grain foods.
The students' feedback is every time we reach out, they want to see more. They want to see dinner rolls and they want to see breadsticks and cinnamon rolls and new items.
They love Good Crust and they love the grains. They love the demonstrations. From a nursing perspective, we want our kids to eat. So it's nice to see something this healthy brought into the schools that the kids really enjoy.
I liked the pizza because it was like very cheesy and the crust was just right and a little crunchy. And it was like the perfect amount of like baked and warmth and stuff.
That was great.
So I'm clear. So MSAD 75, are there other districts involved? Where in Aroostook County? Okay. But what a wonderful story.
But I don't think anyone really understands how big it is and how big it's going to be. It's a lot of money, it's a lot of time, a lot of partners. We just started
you know, I think of, and certainly the food is the focus, but our conversation, you have a daughter in university or a recent graduate thinking about a career in marketing. I mean, the opportunity to tell the story, not only to have the wonderful images of kids, but are there high school students who, are there other ways to get kids involved? What a wonderful opportunity you've brought to the district. Thanks.
Okay.
I just want to echo Jim's sentiments and say great job, because I appreciate how much of a heavy lift this is. And I've been hoping for something like this in our district. So I appreciate the presentation. I didn't know just how many steps and things in the right direction we're going. So I saw a lot of pictures with organic on the label, so I'm curious how much, if you know, of our product is organic?
They support 71 local main farms. So we're working more with them. We still have a long way to go. It's a big project. But I think it's something more.
It's a huge project, and sourcing from local is amazing. So great job.
Mary.
So I just want to say this is awesome. And I remember when you were walking your first day on the job, I think you were going to the superintendent's office, and I said, I remember the lunches that went home during COVID, and they were pathetic. I mean, I hate to say it, but boy, the stuff that was going home was just like, I would not eat it. And half of it ended up in the garbage. And I remember saying to you, like, that would be awesome if you could do something without that kind of thing. And this is so awesome. I mean, I don't even know how you figured this out, but very impressive. And I just had a question. Did you say that the twin sister of the person for Good Grains is from Maine Grains? Wow, that's.
And our twin sister owns the main grain.
That's amazing.
So I actually sent my team up to Main Grains for a lunch, and we got Philippines. That's where we got our flour. It is really cool. And yeah, they both have the same vision. They're both working on the project. They both won multiple awards, and just the kindest people you ever.
It's amazing. Yeah, I applaud every step. That is just amazing. And Maine Grains, I have sisters out in Seattle, and they all buy Maine Grains flour. So that's Seattle. So this will go international. You said it might go international. I believe it. So yeah. Thanks.
Started a school year during COVID, and I remember this. That was one of the first things. I think I got before that I started it. One of the lunches was a marinara cup and a cheese stick, like a bag of carrots. And
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Yeah, and I think to increase our participation, some students still don't eat with us, and it's great because that is the image we painted for parents. So it's important. This has been out on Parent Square. The Good Crust is sending it out on all their social media this week. We need to just educate our parents that it's okay and safe to eat for that we're working to fix.
Great. Super good. Thanks so much.
Jim. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here.
I was going to make just that point. I'm a Woodside parent, and I knew this was going on, like I see it on the menus, but I honestly hadn't really realized what it was. And I'm certain that that's due to some deficiency on my part, that I didn't read something that was communicated to me. But this is fabulous. And I'm glad you're thinking about how to make sure families, because I can imagine the work you've been doing with this pilot, it sounds like it's going to impact not only our other schools, but other schools across Maine, which is a wonderful story to tell for our district, but even within our district, like for families to, I'd be surprised. My guess is I'm probably not alone among Woodside parents, and I'm looking at one across the table, like not really realizing, she's probably better informed than I am, but like how cool this is and that it's happening in our school. So yeah, I would just try to get it in front of people because they're going to be excited about it in the same way we are.
And maybe PTO, but I agree. I think it's just such a lack of education. And I still get phone calls from parents. You know, my child is hungry. They got this list. No, it's too much sugar. No, it's not. There are options. There's
Right.
students who want that. But a lot of it, like we make those mini breakfast pizzas 3 times this week. We're making muffins from scratch. I mean, with real fruit.
Yeah, I would ask Rick Deedick to include it in the Woodside newsletter specifically would be a great way to, that Woodside parents see that and you'll catch their eye.
Holly.
Yeah, so I'm the other Woodside parent. But to that point, so twofold. So one, to Kim's point, same, like not for lack of probably just information put out, but just my observation of it. So wondering if that video can be circulated, because that is, I think that's the thing, every one of us is like, that's awesome. And now that we see it in that format, it sinks in a different way than you sending out like correspondences about this, because we've seen them, but I just don't think it registers until you see that. I also, we had our board, workshop around our own, we did our survey of how we're doing. And this was one of the areas of like, we'd love to learn more about these things. And was just, I'm sitting here going, yes, this is what we want to see more of. And so thank you for bringing this to us. And please share the knowledge of, we want more of this. This is great. Thank you for this information.
Yeah, Haley.
I also want to give kudos to this because as I've been raising my kids, the best way for them to try new things and to build relationships with food is to see what's going into it and how it's being made. I never could get my kids to eat vegetables until I took them to the farmer's market and they could pick out their own vegetables and go home and cook it with me. And so I feel like this is the most brilliant way to get kids invested in their nutrition and just to build a life that is going to sustain our agriculture, but also their bodies with healthy food. So I think it's amazing. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, Will.
So even if not all students know what's going on behind the scenes, I think most of us know that the food service department is really looking out for us. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I think a lot of students would actually be interested in seeing a documentary like this. So if that could be put out in Parent Square, that would be great.
That's it.
Sharing of the video, I will say there's some great minds, things like thing going on here, because I was whispering that to Heidi just a minute ago too. I just wanted to reiterate what Jim was saying earlier, Amanda, which is that like there are 2 schools in the state of Maine participating in this pilot. We are getting ground floor access to this program, helping develop the program they're going to go broader with, getting funding for our school, and I think that's incredible, and it speaks really well to the leadership that you have brought and the hard work of your team. So I hope you and your team are all incredibly proud, because you really should be. So thank you.
Jim.
I don't know if you are aware of Maine Loves Public Schools, a project that I've worked on. They are looking for stories, and they've just recently will be creating 10 to 12 minute videos that they are now going to go on to Maine Public, will be broadcast statewide, and through the public broadcasting can go nationally. So please, I'll put one of these on your seat. Check this out, and I'll send you an email to make that connection. But the other piece, and I can't be the only one sitting here, the next time you come back, like half one of those trays of those whole wheat rolls with perhaps a little local butter softened, left out of the fridge. I'm not the only one. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
Important that we do the quality control for sure.
You can have it at our next workshop.
Well, I think I'm ready.
Come to the finance committee on that day.
Thanks so much.
Hudson.
And actually, like Jim was saying, I'm a member of the MSBA board, and I was at the MSBA regional meeting this weekend, and I was going to bring up some of that later on. But yeah, this program with Maine Public is incredible, and this is exactly the kind of thing that they are looking for. So I agree wholeheartedly with Jim. We should be in touch with Robbie Feinberg at the MSBA about that, because this is incredible work.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That was awesome. Please thank your team too. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that go into it, and they're great. And yeah, she set the bar pretty high. All right, Heidi, next item on our agenda is the, it's the board chair. Where am I here? Superintendent's report, excuse me. It is.
You hear me okay? So welcome back, everyone. I'm really thrilled, and the year has started out extremely well. Fantastic start to the school year. We have our teachers and staff have been working really hard to create a positive and welcoming environment for everyone. It's wonderful to see our schools full of energy and excitement. I've been able to get out into the schools. I usually try to do it every Friday. Last Friday I was a bit tied up, but tomorrow hopefully I will be able to be out there. Our pre-K programs are booming, and I'm happy to share that all are at full capacity, which is a testament to the hard work of all of our early childhood educators and the commitment of our community. So we are excited about that. I'm going to do a little bit of an enrollment. Right now, currently, we have a total of 2,320 students in the district. And that is a report as of just the other day. It's not our official October 1st child count, so that could go up or it could go down. We're hoping it continues to rise. Out in Bowdoin, we're carrying 177 students, Bowdenham 194, Harpswell has 159 students, the high school is at 724, Mount Ararat Middle School at 536, Williams Cone at 221, and then Woodside is at 309 students. So that's pretty exciting. Amanda, she's still here, she already leave. She deserves a lot of credit. She also is the really champion for our economic status forms. And those are coming out, and we've sent out a couple of times. Please fill those out. That is huge. That is a lot of money in those forms. Even if you don't think you qualify, just fill it out. That's okay. We want to get those out there because it does directly support critical funding for the district. So whatever anybody can do to fill those out, and it does make a difference. We have an incredible abundance of activities throughout the district for students. There's something for everyone, and I want to make sure we all know that. We have elementary Lego clubs, we have our WOW cycling to swimming in Harpswell, as well as our robust music, art, and athletic programs. The schools are busy. There's lots of things happening. Our clubs are also off to a great start. They're offering many ways to connect with students with their peers and explore new interests. Something that's really new and interesting, I really want to give a special thanks to families and to our students, as the new cell phone situation is going extremely well. And it has been reported to me that the non-use of cell phones have had the impact that we expected. Kids are talking. That is exactly what we hoped for. So their cooperation has been amazing. They are rocking it. So that's it for tonight.
Thank you. All right, so now I've got the board chairs report. I just have a couple quick items to hit on, but it's not a lot yet as we're kind of getting our feet under us and we've kind of all enjoyed the summer. So what I wanted to call first is the fall conference for the MSBA coming up. If you would like to attend, that would be great. You know, don't feel like you need to attend means both days, or, you know, if you can make it there for part of a day or anything, there's great information and great opportunities to learn. So just let Heidi know if you would like to be registered, and that is still possible. I wanted another reminder about upcoming things, as on Monday is the legislative update. I believe by Drummond and Woodson, maybe. And Heidi has that set up so we can view that in the district conference room. If you'd like to attend, please let her know. There will be some lunch, I believe. So, ooh, all right. That was the teaser. And if you've already let her know that you will be there, but plans have changed as they do, just let us know that too, so that we can have the right accurate head count for food. And then the final thing I wanted to just touch on is we're beginning to have discussions at our leadership meetings, Hudson, Heidi and I, about ways to continue to drive efficiency. I think we've seen in the last year a lot of really good work coming out of the committees at the committee level, a lot of productive information when it gets to the board. It's pretty, you know, we're in a really good place. And I think that we just want to continue to explore ways to drive further efficiencies without impacting productivity. So we're beginning to talk about ways to look at where we have 2 meetings a month. If there's a way for us to leverage one of those meetings in a slightly different way to incorporate workshops into that. And anything else that would help maybe allow us to have a little bit of time back too as a board. I think that there's a benefit in that as we look to bring on new members or keep any members that we may be losing. But just to help balance it, I mean, I think we're beginning to see that how much this board can do when we're coming together and working well together. And we just wanted to kind of explore ways to do that. So I think there'll be more to come in that. I just want to give you guys a heads up that that's something that's on the radar. I think it'll set us up for success and recruitment and things into the future as a district. So that is what I have for now. And with that, we will move on to committee reports. And our first committee is the Ad Hoc Athletic Committee.
Report. We met, I guess it was August 18th, to continue our discussion of the policy JJI, which is philosophy of athletics. We had a really good discussion. And we got to the point where we were ready to pass our draft onto the policy committee so they can do policy committee work with it. And next up, actually Monday is our next meeting, and we're going to start on policy JJIBB, which is sportsmanship. So that's the report.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for getting that committee rolling. I know it's something new. It's always a little difficult to get momentum sometimes, but it sounds like it's going in a great direction. So thank you. Next is what, policy?
Hello. So yeah, we had a great meeting last month. Heidi was unable to attend at the last minute, so we don't have anything that came out of that that's ready for approval yet. So that was also true in July, you may remember. So we're sort of building up a sort of stack of policies that we've submitted to the administration for some questions and guidance on from various directors within the school district. So we'll probably start getting those back later in the fall. So I promise, even though we haven't been voting on things, things have been happening. We talked about several policies. You can see sort of the list here. I think the biggest thing to report here is we started talking about the board self-evaluation. And we looked at several different rubrics, and there's not a standardized rubric that's out there. There's policy BBAB, which is sort of the idea of, hey, we're going to evaluate every year. But then the rubrics are often not published. There's not a lot of great examples, which is why 2 years ago when I was chair, we used that SACO one because it was sort of all we could really find. So we talked about some different ideas. We looked at some stuff. I pulled together some examples, including some stuff from New Hampshire. And the committee felt like there was a good sort of direction on sort of a lean, mean, pared down evaluation approach. So I'm currently putting that sort of discussion into a draft that we'll discuss at our next meeting and maybe have something to bring forward for the board to weigh in on. If not at our next September meeting, then certainly in October. So it was really good meeting.
Keep your mic on. I believe the next we have the MSBA regional meeting with Jessica and Hudson.
Finance committee first, actually. But,
oh, geez, I'm sorry.
So it is still me.
Moving too fast.
So the first thing that we did at our finance committee meeting is we just went over the schedule and agreed to it as a committee. This schedule is exactly what we did last year, and it's the pattern we followed for several years now. Regular meetings, the same schedule. We are planning on doing a forum in November. We did talk about trying to move that forum around maybe a little bit, and sort of the ultimate decision was early November is probably the best time for it for a lot of different reasons, even though there's benefits to later, there's benefits to earlier, so staying sort of where we landed last year seemed good. So yeah, everyone please take note of that. That will be the finance committee calendar. It is possible that Evan and I may need to adjust what the topics of a given meeting are, but broadly speaking, this should hold and be correct. The only thing to note for you on that is that the Thursday, May 14th district budget meeting is currently slotted as a regular board meeting. And in my conversation with Evan, Heidi, and Ryan about that, we felt that better to keep the long-term cadence of the district budget meetings that involves many members of the public, and the board can adjust our schedule however necessary well in advance of that date. So just, I want to call attention to that. There will not be a full regular board meeting that night, but if there's not a lot to be done, maybe we have a short board meeting, who knows? But Ryan and Heidi will solve that. And then the rest of the finance committee conversation was about the audit, which Evan presented for us and took us through the top line. Assuming you guys looked at the agenda exhibits a little further down, there are a lot of pages of information. And so I'm really grateful to Evan for having spent a lot of time with it ahead of time to understand it and guide us through sort of the big top lines. And I guess I can tee it up. You know, we're going to take action later in the meeting. I'll tee it up now, just to say that while they're overall the audit shows that we're in a strong position. Our financial position, is on paper better than it was the year before, not by massive amounts, but by reasonable amounts. There was sort of a lot of movement under the line, like from what, and Evan, if I start getting this wrong, like wave your arms at me. Like transfer between buckets was more than we might have expected. Like, oh, there's more money taken out of this, but left in that. But the overall position was very good and strong. And so as a result of that, while we did have question about one thing that the auditor included from the previous year, broadly speaking, the audit shows we're in good shape, and the Finance Committee does recommend the full board accept it when we take action later. So.
And it's for 20.
Yes, thank you. This is for fiscal year 23. Thank you, Kim. That's the audit we're talking about. And then the other thing that Evan mentioned is that the new auditing firm that's starting the fiscal year 24 audit might have something to us in like 6 weeks. So we'll see exactly what it is, but they're moving a lot faster, which is really exciting. So we're catching up. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Yes, Jessica.
May I add something?
You may.
As another finance member. You had talked about leaving that November meeting, and I just wanted to say that the reason we decided to do that, not that there are many public members here, but anyone watching and listening, is that we want public participation at the earliest point possible. We want to hear from the public.
What she said.
Now the regional meeting update.
So yeah, so this there were 3 of them. And Jessica and I attended the one on Monday. I don't know if anyone else attended any of the other ones. But Jessica and I can talk about the regional meeting, and then I'll use this to sort of sneak in some stuff from the MSBA board meeting as well, if everyone's okay with that. But I thought it was a good meeting. They went through the presentation of the current drafts of the proposed changes that'll come up at delegate assembly. So the new resolution, the changes to resolutions and the changes to constitutions and bylaws. I can speak, if anyone has questions at any point, doesn't have to be in the meeting, as a member of the MSBA board, I've participated in a lot of those conversations, in particular for constitution and bylaws, because I'm on that committee. And then after that, we had the roundtable conversation. And so broadly speaking, there were a couple proposed adjustments to the resolutions. There is no proposed adjustments to the constitutions and bylaws. And at the other 2 meetings, there may have been some of the same. And so the MSBA board will be meeting in early October to review any suggestions that came out of those 3 meetings and choose to adopt them or not, and ahead of delegate assembly. And then we, as a board, will be able to give advice to whoever our delegate is on votes or suggestions to bring up at delegate assembly. But that is sort of the deal with that. And then after that, there was the roundtable discussion, which was about budget, a lot of it. I mean, people were talking about bus drivers being a problem, and I'm proud to say that we don't have that problem this year. So thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Tom. That was one of the issues that was discussed. And then, budget conversations. And, the budgets got passed, I think, more successfully than a lot of people expected last year, but there were still a lot of budget challenges, and so there were conversations about that. Jessica, if I'm missing anything.
I think you got it.
Cool. And then, at the MSBA board level, we talked about preparing for delegate assembly and the conference. We actually, the president of the NSBA, the National School Board Association, came and spoke to us. He lives in Massachusetts, and it was nice to sort of talk to him a bit. What the NSBA is doing. One of the challenges they're having these days is that very few state organizations have joined. I think they're under 50% of the states, or right around 50% of states have remained members of the NSBA. But for states where the state organization has not joined, individual districts are able to join. So they have representation, I think, in all states except for one because of that. So that's good. So the reach is still quite broad. And we sort of talked about what they are able to do. And I think where they're the most powerful in a lot of ways is professional development for the state boards, and that can then flow down to the individual districts, and providing the sort of help with policy, with centralized legal assistance that state boards provide. They can provide that to individual districts who maybe don't have that resource in other schools, in other states. And then, we talked about constitutions, the bylaws, all that stuff. And we talked about the Maine Public Partnership, which is really cool. So Maine Public is funding in part this series of short documentaries about what's happening in schools. And I think they've got, 6 or 8 episodes that are in place, 8 right now, and they're planning a 2nd season already. And Jim can probably speak to some of this as well. But it's really exciting. Maine Public's going to be co-branding it with them. And so we watched a little teaser that they had assembled of it that was really fun and exciting. And a couple people at that meeting were like, hey, my district, we should be considered. And they've been really thoughtful. They're pulling districts from all over the state. It's not just, you know, Southern Maine, Cumberland County. They're doing a really good job of being representative. But yeah, I think we're in a really good position with some of our stories that we could, you know, push forward and share, which is great. And that was sort of the MSBA update.
Excellent, thank you. Next, we have CIA.
Whoop, wrong way, there it goes. As you can see from the agenda that's in the onboard, we heard a story around the multilingual instruction, the work that's going on, which was powerful across all the schools in the district, in a really good place and significant story of impact. We will be looking at a couple of requests further down, and I'll speak briefly directly to those. And wonderful information about ongoing work to align the habits of work at the middle school, not only to the high school, but again, Heidi, it goes to the critical importance of the strategic plan, that it goes all the way up to that, the portrait of a graduate, but through the strategic plan to tie everything together. And there were comments within the committee, not only to certainly understand and appreciate that work between the middle and the high school, but to work to assure that it goes from pre-K on up. We also heard about the grading, ongoing work around the grading, and with some updates that Google Classroom will now be able to share grading information effectively into Infinite Campus, that there had been a lack of compatibility in terms of capabilities that was stopping the middle school from making full use of the opportunities Google Classroom makes possible, and we're going to tie those together. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. SEC.
Your spirit of, keeping with your spirit of efficiency, we had a very brief meeting this week, this evening, in which I was elected the chair of the committee again. That is our report.
Wonderful news. We appreciate you doing it once again.
What's that?
We appreciate you once again. Thank
I
you.
am happy to do it. Thank you for your faith in me, everyone.
Yeah, that's
Before we get out of reports, it occurs to me that Heidi left something out of her report about the hockey team.
We had a waiver meeting on September 4th, where myself, Dr. Hoffman, and our new athletic director, Heidi Wright, presented to a team of folks that are on the MPA. I feel like there was about 9 or 10 people in the meeting. And we went through everything, and we were reinstated for the 2025-2026 hockey season. And we also were approved for a waiver for a collaborative with the Lewiston ice hockey team. So that's really good news. So yes, good work to all the things that we've been doing with Stop Hazing, Boys to Men, I think was the name of the other one. But the work that the training and everything that we've been doing, they were really impressed with our presentation. So I just want to thank those that participated.
Thanks for catching that, Hudson, and thank you for that work, Heidi. It's great to make sure those kids have a chance to play hockey this year. All right, so we will move on to old business. The first item under old business is to just elect a delegate and an alternate to represent the board at the Saturday, October 18th MSBA Delegate Assembly. I understand at our last meeting in August, I wasn't able to be here, and there was some discussion about this, and we didn't land on anyone, but not everyone was here. So we are bringing it back tonight to see if there is anyone who is interested in this opportunity. And if not, I've volunteered myself.
To you, Ryan.
All right. So, would anybody else interested? No? Do we need a
nominate
motion?
Ryan and myself as Ryan as the delegate and myself as the alternate.
All right, any discussion?
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? All right. All right, that was unanimous. Thank you for the confidence in letting Hudson and I do that. Next, we have to consider action to formally accept the financial audit report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, as prepared by Ron Beaulieu.
So moved.
Okay.
So yeah, once again, if anyone has any questions about the audit, Evan's actually here. He can answer it better than I can.
Last chance. All right. All right. Seeing no questions, all those in favor of approving? Anyone opposed? All right. That was unanimous. We approved there and looking.
Awesome. Is it this weekend at the wedding or next weekend? Next weekend. All right, I was gonna say go home, but you can go home anyway, so.
Board should say, hey, Evan, go have a good wedding.
Yeah. We'll be crashing the party, Bart.
Oh.
Yeah.
I-
Wedding crashers. That would be a great wedding crashers part two, like your school board shows up at your wedding. Yeah.
Schedule?
Best of luck. Thank you, Evan. Thanks for all the work on this one. All right, we will move on to new business. The first item we have under new business was added as an adjustment is to discuss and consider action regarding previously passed KF-R, which is procedures for community use of school facilities, and KF-E2, which is community usage fee flow chart. There has been some discussion that's come up, and I think Heidi maybe will be the best one to help lead us through that update.
Well, I'll start the conversation just to kind of sort of let you know that the status that we're in. So in June, I believe it was the last time that we passed the policy to update our facilities use and our fees for profit and nonprofit locations in the school district. And we do have a lot of people out in the community, you know, rec departments, soccer programs, and different other programs that use our facilities quite a lot. And so there is some concern because they've not been charged in the past, and now we have a policy that will charge people to do this. And, you know, there is concern about that they haven't budgeted for it. And so my question was, you know, whether or not we allow waivers for these, or we charge the minimum based on nonprofits and or profits. And so it has to be a discussion because I don't want to just make that decision on my own and not follow our own policy. So I don't know, Hudson, what are your thoughts?
So yeah, I can just provide some information. So as you may recall, when we updated the policy in June and the board adopted it, we had several meetings throughout the winter and spring about this policy. Because Heidi and broadly the administrative team, right, agreed that we were essentially losing money on almost all of our rentals. You know, what we were charging did not match the cost to maintain. And so the pricing that they brought back was a sort of departure from some of the previous price amounts relative to previous years. So for example, I'm not going to go through the entire comparative list, but like a classroom was $30 a day for a nonprofit and then became $20 an hour for a nonprofit, right? So like the contrast was significant. And I believe we talked about that when I brought it forward to first read and second read, just we were all aware of it, right? What did not change was the qualifications, what you fit into. Are you a nonprofit on fee class A? Are you fee class B profit? Or are you fee class 0 exempt? That did not change. Just the dollar amounts being charged to whatever bucket you ended up in. So that is sort of the background on how the policy was changed. So if people were not charged before at all, they should, either that was an error and they should have been charged something, or B, that bucket would not have changed. And so I can't obviously speak to every individual person who's applied to the administration, but policy did not change on what bucket you belong in. That remained consistent.
And, as part of cleaning up, different things, we sort of discovered that there hasn't been a real good system in place for keeping track of that. And so with the turf field and with all of our facilities and the use of our facilities and things really starting to, wear down with our master plan, we looked at this policy and we brought it forward and we said, we really need to start focusing on this because it is costing us a lot more money to continue. And we want to be good neighbors and we want to be good partners, but it does cost us when it's used. And if it's just used once in a while, then that's easy to waive. But if it's used consistently, sometimes some folks use things every single day. I mean, we had to talk about that. And so I don't want to be the, ogre or anything, but I got to follow the policy too, and then be a good neighbor at the same time.
I'm just, so I'll add to that. I mean, I think that there's probably a little bit of validity, right, in the budgeting season and how some people have come into this, that we probably, how we considered that. I don't know. I don't recall. I don't know if anybody else does, if we discussed that.
You mean like how the
Like how a
organization-
use, yeah, an organization may have budgeted for this change and if, or not budgeted for this change because of the timing of it and such.
Yeah, I guess part of that also depends like what their budget cycles are, which I
Totally, yeah,
obviously-
yeah. Amy?
Have we been asked by a specific organization or organizations for any specific waiver, or is this just a blanket request?
No, there are concerns from different folks, and so they've reached out to us.
I mean, are we discussing the individual circumstances, or is this a general question here?
I mean, that's sort of a good question. Like, is this a category of organization that has come to you? Is it just ways to sort of think about who might be?
It's like broadly stated, it's like rec departments that haven't really budgeted for this. And we have a lot of rec departments through every single town that use our facilities. And so that is a concern for them. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But everybody does it a little bit different. So we're trying to manage that as well.
Frank?
Do we not have a clause in our policy that speaks to if it's in association with our town government? So would not the rec departments fit under that category?
I'll jump in as the policy guy, but anyone else can jump in too. So yeah, the fee class 0, which is the waived usage fee, includes language that covers a lot of different types of organizations. But prior to that, and this is language that existed before the update. Again, we did not deal with any changes in classification this year. The first category is facility use on an occasional and limited basis may be granted without usage fee, not including any applicable staffing fees. And then underneath that, presumed occasional and limited basis usage, we have not-for-profit educational, recreational, cultural, and charitable organizations where the majority of members are local. We have not-for-profit groups which represent programs that are designed to be educational, recreational, or cultural benefit to local citizens. The grandfathered Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops, political parties for biennial caucusing, parent-teacher organizations, and the municipal sponsored groups and organizations from within the district. But that has been nested under the occasional limited basis clause for at least the last 2 years. Again, I have not done a full deep dive on beyond that, but that is not new language at that level.
Yeah, Jessica.
I don't think, though, that rec departments would fall under that, would they? Because it's occasional use, but Heidi, didn't you say that they are somewhat regular users? Okay. So I'm on the committee with you. I remember discussing this. but I don't recall where we landed particular to this actual chart, so forgive me if I missed something. But I try to see things from both sides, and I could understand and appreciate why a rec department would have that sense at this point of their fiscal year, possibly feeling like they already pay taxes to the school. And, it's the school's kids that are in the rec department frequently. So I guess what I'm saying is possibly considering a waiver of some sort or something for this year since, on a case by case, yeah, without looking at the funding source at all, I feel like that would be very worth considering for these cases.
Heidi, were they charged the former rates before, or were they not charged at all?
I don't believe that anybody was charged previously. And that's when it sort of came to light when we started cleaning everything up. So I don't know what happened in the past because I wasn't part of that. But as we're moving forward and I'm uncovering more and more things, this is kind of where we're at. And so that's why we brought it forward.
And I do have the 2016 version of the policy, and that has the same occasional and limited use clause in it. So it does sound like, and again, I'm drawing a conclusion, so if I'm wrong, anyone call me out. It does sound like if that is the case, that the municipal rec organizations were not being charged. That was not according to policy for many years now. I am somewhat sympathetic with Jessica's proposal, which could be a motion along the lines of, I'm not making it, I'm just sounding it out, to waive for MSAD 75 municipal recreation organizations to have fees waived for the 2025-26 school year. We could probably do something like that if that's the will of the board, but yeah.
Tony?
Yeah, how much are they charged if they use, say, the field?
Can tell you that. The current policy has, let me just scroll to the chart. A grass field is $50 an hour for a nonprofit. The athletic field, the turf field is $75 an hour for a nonprofit. And the turf field lights on top of, as an additional charge, would be $25 an hour to whatever field fee we're paying.
Oh,
And those figures came from Heidi and the full team, admin team, facilities and whatnot, on what it takes to operate. Yeah.
And that the same for organizations that aren't.
So for-profit.
Otherwise, it was truly occasional.
Sorry, restate that question.
The fee schedule that you just described is, I'm stating something, you tell me if I have this wrong. It's uniform. It applies to the nonprofit groups in which you just described, but also for groups that may not necessarily, that might have otherwise fallen under the waived usage fee, but they're using it
Correct.
more than an occasional and limited basis.
That is correct. So yeah, so if you don't qualify for the waived, you're almost certainly going to qualify, but you're a nonprofit, you're going to qualify for the nonprofit fee. And then there's a commercial/personal use fee, which is higher beyond that.
Tony had a follow-up question,
Yeah.
I think.
So my thought is, it does cost and it's part of the budget. If you're going to waive, why don't you just charge them a one-time fee for the year? And then say in the future, this is what the fees are going to be. I mean, I think that's fair enough. They should be able to come up with a flat rate of one time for usage. Just a thought. But this year, don't waive and say you get the one-time kind of fee, pass go for the year, but following the years ahead, this is what the fees are going to be, or the budget. I think that's fair enough. They should be able to come up with something. I mean, nobody gets anything for free.
Gregory?
I was gonna kind of say what Tony said, that the balance could be pay what you can or a one-time fee. And often I've done things where people are very generous when you do like pay what you can, and they pay more than I thought I was gonna ask for. So I think Tony's on the right track. I'm going to zero to some kind of recoup our loss a little bit.
And you mean for this year, Gregory, or yeah, right.
This year.
Yeah, Hudson.
And I was just going to add, just as a reminder, everybody, this is a policy that we are supposed to and have been recently evaluating every year. So this will get reevaluated in the spring ahead of the next school year. So if we want to take one-time action to ameliorate this for the municipal rec departments tonight, Heidi could work with said rec departments for maybe different recommendations come spring, right? Like there's nothing preventing further adjustments as part of the regular review process that we're trying to do annually.
Jim.
So will we, is the desire of the board tonight, will we seek, if we do choose to have a one-time rate, that, and this is going to be a great way to increase participation in the budget process in the spring, I'll tell you that. So that's it. Then you get into the question, do we need to look at participation rates, number of games, facilities used across by community? Topsom has 2 elementary schools, fields, et cetera. Is it fields at all the schools? Are there some fields at the elementary schools that have been funded by donation, et cetera? The complexity of it. It is and it's something the local communities are going to really care about.
Yeah, Amy.
Yeah, I would just add that it also feeds into our facilities master's plan, and are we going to maintain all these fields, and how are we going to pay for that? So I support the idea of doing something for this year, giving them a grace period till their next fiscal year, or whatever it is, to start on these fields.
Doing something this year puts a dot on their planning. If you were to say, well, we'll pass this year and we'll look at it again next year, then it's gone. I would back Tony's suggestion of some, and it's a loss leader this year, but its job is to put that dot in their budget planning.
Yeah, Gregory.
I guess it's just also, if this is a once-a-year thing, then I guess the policy committee or the board needs to send out like a letter saying, here are the new fees. So there are no surprises, and that could just be an annual thing. An update.
Yeah.
You have any more, Tony?
Say that, it is in step with being a good neighbor or whatever. I don't think it's a bad thing to even have sort of a breakdown. This is what it costs an hour. This is how much it costs to reseed for the use. So that way, when it does come up in budget and we're looking to get everything approved, there's something there's seed money. And it's not a total loss. It's not, yeah, we're giving you a free pass, because it's not a free pass, because it does get passed along to the taxpayers and the facilities and all the upkeep. I just think it's a fair exchange.
Frank.
Yeah, I'm having a large difficulty with this, and it's because I believe we are a community of learners, and I see things like the rec department as an integral part of what we're doing, and I have difficulty charging rec departments for the use of our facilities, because in some of our towns, the schools are the only places that they have to run programs. And I think that the rec departments are part of what we do. And that's just my perspective. So to charge them is an anathema to what I believe.
All right, so we've accomplished the, oh, so yeah, thank you, Mary.
That Frank brought it up. I am definitely on board with what Frank said. I mean, I think that, I understand that we weren't charging them for many years, but was there a reason for that? Like, what was in the background? Did that come, like, was that a thing where the rec couldn't have programs because they, you know, it was a burden on them to have to pay these kind of money? And so then the people just back then decided, well, we'll give them a buy because they're providing programming for our kids, and our kids really need those programs. So, I mean, I am definitely what Frank said, I agree with. And if that wasn't the case, I would say you could offer that, you know, like what, you know, Greg said, that maybe we offer them like what the breakdown is for us and why that's a burden on us, and would they be willing to help with that burden? Something along those lines.
Anyway.
Just to piggyback off what Frank said, I think that obviously it's important that we're not losing money to these programs, but for example, like basketball rec happens in like Williams Cone Gym or Woodside Gym, and these kids that are participating are the children of taxpayers who are already paying taxes to participate in using these facilities. So I can't say I have the right answer for it, but I feel like if we do charge a fee for that, it's going to make the fees for the kids higher. And I'm worried about how that might affect like lower income families that also want to be able to participate in those.
All right, I'm gonna go to Kim, then Tony, then Hudson.
I'm just going to offer a different perspective, and it's not intended to be contrarian, but I mean, I think what we can all agree on is that we're trying to ensure both the municipalities and the district have clear information about the cost of the programs. And I think the bottom line is, for whatever reason, we've all inherited, both the school and the towns, a lot of ambiguity about the facilities and the cost, either the transfer of funds to support the programming, or even, frankly, the cost of the programming itself, right, which needs a facility. And I do think as a board, we have a fiduciary obligation to make sure that we're managing our facilities well. And I also think we need to be really clear about what is our program that we're running, what falls within our programs and activities, and what are programs that other organizations are running but are using our facilities. And of course, that's the call of this policy, right, is to make our facilities available. So, you know, I think it's important to get clarity, like sort of chase down the clarity here. And obviously, you know, the work that the policy committee and this board did is just the first chapter of it, right, which is to get our school district policies in shape. And of course, we talked about this at the policy committee, right? We recognize that given the situation that we had inherited, this may come as a surprise to some folks in the town. So I think this is the beginning of a conversation, not the end. But I mean, I'll be honest, I don't know that I'm comfortable endorsing a position that the school is essentially functionally taking on all rec programming that's offered by the towns, which I'm sorry, I think that's what some of you are implying by just suggesting that we would sort of adopt it as part of our program. So I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I just think it needs a lot more thought and study. So, you know, I mean, I think the Tony Gregory suggestion is a really good one. I mean, I wonder if what this board should do, if, I don't know if this is too amorphous a suggestion, is essentially to authorize the superintendent tonight to engage in the conversations that you think are prudent given the situation, and to have exploration, you know, in keeping with Gregory's language of like pay what you can, to see what's appropriate, sort of how to handle the situation for this year. And then obviously the broader policy conversations can continue so that we can all get to a place of getting it right, you know, for next year.
Tony?
My other thought is in terms of the recreation piece. Every parent is being charged something for those kids to do the sport or whatever recreational thing they're doing. I could see bending a little bit more if I knew that there were kids whose families could not afford to put them on there, and they have some sort of a scholarship where they waiver the fee for a couple of kids.
I think they do.
Gone Hudson and then Amy.
Yeah, I sort of find myself fairly aligned with Kim in a lot of ways. And I think one thing I wanted to point out is that there are rec programs that are for adults, right? There are adults that play basketball in the Bodenham gym on weekends through the rec department. So while children are probably the primary beneficiaries, I think we'd all agree that's overwhelmingly the case. It's not the only case of the rec departments. And I do worry that as, the school budget, which is the largest share of most municipal budgets in our district, if not all of them, we get a lot of heat for that. And if we are essentially subsidizing town recreation programs, we need to find a way to message that. If that's going to be a path we go down, it needs to be clear, hey, because it's probably tens of thousands of dollars worth of maintenance and upkeep or waived fees, right? Like which is not insubstantial. And I'm not saying that that's not worth it, right? That's not, like Kim said, that's not me saying I'm opposed to that, but I want to be considerate about it. And I think that's something that's important to, if we choose to engage in that, I think that's something, even in the long term. This year, whatever we do this year is going to be a one-off because we're talking about adjusting an existing policy for right now. But for looking to the future, I think we need to be thoughtful about what we really want to try to achieve.
I want to make sure we remember or keep in mind that the cost or the prices or in here are in fact based on the cost to run the facilities, and they weren't in any way made to, nobody's making money. This is not
on the nonprofit
this is not, these numbers were arrived at carefully and with real cost and real expenses in mind. Just want to make.
Yeah, and I remember, if I recall correctly too, they align with districts around the area too. Like this is something that is fairly common practice. But I think Jessica.
Yeah, kind of back to your point about having Heidi kind of move forward with some of this. I wonder how much work it might be to have Evan take a look at what the use has been. And, for instance, I think what I'm hearing from the group mostly is our students within the district. We're concerned about those students using facilities via a rec program if they're already paying tax to the school. Because that sort of feels like a double taxation to me on some level. But I wonder if we could determine a little bit more about where the use allocation is. In other words, how much rec department use is there for our students? That would be a useful tidbit, I think, to parse out from all else.
Amy?
I don't want the double tax phrase out there because the cost of these facilities is going to be paid somewhat. There's just one cost. It's either going to be paid by the schools and the rec department, and even though it's the same kids, it might be the same parents paying twice. We're not collecting twice the cost of we're either collecting it from taxpayers or the towns. We're not collecting it from both.
To just chime on that very quickly, and there's, the municipalities are not the district, right? So if Bodenham decided to eliminate, the Bodenham Rec Department said, we're not doing any sports this year, Bodenham would still be paying for all the other rec programs in all the other districts, right? So because if it was going through the district, because all of our member municipalities pay into the district based on the property value and student enrollment numbers, and that's it, not the additional stuff. So when we are subsidizing municipalities, there's a lot of room for that to be inequitable. If one municipality is getting a lot of wear and tear on their school facilities, that's not true other places, they're gonna, the other towns potentially paying into that on behalf of those municipal members. So again, I think double taxation is the wrong model. I understand why it feels that way, but it's like paying to use a thing, it's gonna get paid for. It's just like how is that being aligned is sort of the question.
Jim.
The complexity, it's a Gordian knot that and as Amy, you say, it's just the cost to maintain it. I hope that we would all agree the last thing any of us would hope to see are buildings standing empty and not being used by our community. That as we work as a district the work that's begun with Broad Reach, the word to tell the story. We want to welcome people into and pictures of those schools filled. We've all been, I would hope, to either Little League, not, and I use that, not actual Little League, but baseball games on the field, basketball games. If you've not been to an elementary school on basketball day on Saturday, that's where people are there. That's what we want. So given the complexity of it, I would suggest, in fact, can I make a motion?
You may.
That we would ask Heidi to initiate, and Evan, to be part of this, to initiate a conversation, to invite the recreation departments to the district office, to begin a conversation on how we together, all together as a community of learners, unravel this to be sure that the costs are paid and without a prescribed answer, bring people to the table before an answer is even formulated, just with a sense, because what we all want, what recreation departments all want is for every kid on a Saturday, instead of being connected to a switch, to be on the court playing basketball or waiting for their game to come up. So I would move that the board ask Heidi to initiate a conversation with the recreation departments across the district.
So it's been moved and seconded. Haley? And we'll have some discussion then specifically on that motion.
I would actually like to move to amend that motion to read as follows. I move we suspend the listed nonprofit fees for member municipal recreation departments for the 2025-26 school year and authorize the superintendent to negotiate in a pay-what-you-can fee as appropriate for the same school year. Because I feel like the problem that we run, that's my, sorry, I will discuss it afterwards. That's my motion. All right.
Okay, so, yeah.
So the reason I suggest this amendment, which Holly has seconded, is I think the problem is, like, right now, recreation programs are happening, and Heidi is dealing with rec departments that are running to the funding problem. So I think we do in fact need to act relatively quickly to address that initial problem. And I think Jim is exactly correct that there's a larger conversation that needs to happen in advance of next year. I don't know that that needs to be included in the motion because I think Heidi's got the message. But I think the important thing is we need to resolve for the soccer programs that are happening right now, and rec departments that probably have locked in their municipal budgets for the year. That's my thinking behind this amendment. And Jim's got his hand.
Jim?
So
and then-
relative to that motion, so rec departments are now receiving bills. So the Bowdoin Recreation Committee has been billed for, I guess that's what I'm asking.
Not everybody yet.
Who has been billed?
I would, must be the Topsom Soccer is going on. They use this field.
There are different folks that are reaching out, Topsom, Harpswell.
And they have been billed.
They haven't been billed yet. They've been informed that that is what the cost is.
They're currently using the field.
They're currently,
Right.
and there are things coming,
And
there
they're
are things
using
that
the
are coming up.
gyms, and they're doing those things. But
They're accruing fees, let's put it like that.
so some communities are not accruing any fees, are not,
Some communities are not running programs.
Currently.
because of,
Fees by the school?
I think that
The programs aren't yet using the fields, our fields this year. Is that correct, Heidi?
Nobody has been denied. The conversation is I need to talk with folks about that and I will get back to you. They've let me know what the dates are that they're going to be starting. And so I will get back to them. So they've not been not able to use the fields yet because of fees. Let me clarify that. but we're in conversations with them, and that's why we're bringing this forward, because things are going to be starting up and they're concerned about being able to pay the fees. But anybody that's reached out, I said, I will get back to you.
Yeah. So I guess I would end my comment by speaking in favor of the amendment, given that it's a pay what you can, and the underlying motion is that conversation starting now. And I say that because the pay what you can does not bring a scripted solution. It's inviting people to talk about it. If there is a pressing need to have some financial piece involved. But the biggest piece is an open conversation. How do we do this all together?
Tony?
I still feel strongly about having kids who don't have access or can't have access, that they provide an opportunity for those kids who are living as marginal plan with recreation. I would like to see them say, yes, we have a couple of kids, whatever. And I don't know if that has to happen at the school level or what, because I think that schools often know who can afford and who can't. And I think that the question should be posed to some of those kids, do you want to play a sport? And usually money's going to be the barrier. I would like to see some poor kids playing games.
I'm going to bring us back quick to like kind of the discussion that we have here, which I think we need to figure out is the discussion, which it sounds like we are all feeling like there needs to be more discussion on the long-term plan and partnership and how we address this. And the other piece of this agenda item was to potentially take action. It's feeling like there needs to be some kind of action taken, and we're coalescing around a sort of a thought, and we have a motion on the floor. So I think if we want to speak directly to the motion that Hudson has, that piece of it, let's focus on that with any comments right now, and then we'll move back to where we were, move through the rest of the process. But Gregory and then Amy.
So I'm just going to remind us that I'm always looking at the strategic plan. I love our strategic plan. And I think it connects with Jim and Hudson, because it says in priority number 4, goal 4C, we are going to expand and deepen school community partnerships that enhance student learning and well-being. And this is that conversation with the rec department is one of our goals, to just develop that some more so we don't have this happen again.
I would move the question. I think I'm ready.
Okay, so with that said, it looks like we're probably ready to vote on Hudson's question, and I'm gonna, if you don't mind, just stating it one more time so that everybody knows specifically what we're voting on.
Yes. So my motion is to amend Jim's motion, replacing it with the following. I move we suspend the listed nonprofit fees for member municipal recreation departments, the 2025-2026 school year, and authorize the superintendent to negotiate a pay-what-you-can fee as appropriate for the same year.
All right, so with that, we will take a vote. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so that motion passes.
Now that's the motion on the table.
Because you amended it, yes, so now we go, correct me if I'm wrong, but we go through it one more time on virtually the same thing? I'm not very good at these rules,
No,
but I'll
this
figure
is
out.
where it gets.
All right, so that motion is back on the table, and would be open for discussion if anybody has anything to add to that specifically again.
Just my expectation and assumption, and I know what happens when you assume, but I want that it's not as simple as negotiating a pay-as-you-can fee. It is to begin a long-term planning conversation, how to make sure, as Gregory's read to us, that goal from our strategic plan is carried out. So I'm a little hesitant. I'd ask, is it possible to make a friendly amendment to that to add.
I think that's possible. I think the other thing that I would remind us too is if we take action on this one piece tonight, we have another 9 months to,
Okay.
and quite a few meetings that we can address that if we want, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to, I fully agree with your intent here, Jim, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we all agree with that intent. I crafted this motion to deal with the problem we're dealing with today, which is the current fiscal years or school years charging scenario. Just like Heidi brought a really detailed amount of research and work that she and the admin did to the policy committee to reassess the fees, I fully expect her to do the same thing, working with the rec departments, that we're in a position that everyone is on the same page for our next revisitation of this.
I will add, I am smelling a workshop. So. All right. Anyone else have a comment they would like? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay, so that passed unanimously. Thank you for a great discussion. I think it's really productive. I think it highlighted an opportunity for us to ensure we are being the partners. I think we all want to be here but ensure we're being responsible with our facilities as well, which was the intent from the beginning. So great discussion and thank you. Next up, we have, this was another addition to the agenda this evening, to approve a stipend request for a play club supervisor at Bodenham Community School. And I will ask.
So moved.
All right. Moved and seconded by Holly. Any discussion, questions? See, Hudson.
Presentation we saw from Chris Lajoie was amazing, so I'm really glad that they're giving it even more backing.
Totally agree. Oh, great. Seeing no more, all those in favor? Any opposition? Yep. All right. We have another addition here on 13.3 to approve Schedule B of the MEA Teachers Association contract outlining stipends for the 25-26 year. And
Seconded.
okay, so it's on the table, and do you want to speak to it?
I can, yes, so, part of the contract with the teachers or one clause in the contract requires a review of the stipends every June, and this year we embarked on a bigger review than previous years because we added in the high school and middle school stipend process. And we did not add any positions, we did not add any money, but we changed the process so that there's the principals will have a little more flexibility in being able to add positions. They will still have to come just like we just did. We will still have to approve the individual new stipends, but the principals will have more control over their budget. And they can say, we're having this one, not this one, as long as they pick from a menu of positions that we've already said, yes, that's a good position. Does that cover anything?
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right, so no money was added. It just was sort of carved out to be more flexible.
Yeah, definitely more flexible and meet the students' needs at the moment.
It gives Heidi more control, it gives the principals more control as which programs are run when.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? No, is all, so that passed unanimously. And the next one, I'm going to apologize now. I did not make it to CIA, so I will likely mispronounce this. Please correct me, Jim. But to consider action to approve the multilingual instructional program, is it ELLII or ELLI?
Ellie, so moved.
Seconded.
If you take a look at the ELLII, let's see, is it a .com? It's a .com. powerful collection of resources for multilingual learners. It has been used at adult education, Mary Meany Adult Education. So it's already in use in the district. Powerful collection. Argument was clearly made for the use, the value received.
Excellent. Any additional questions? That was moved and seconded, right? I'm sorry. Jim moved it. All right, so we will vote. All those in favor? Any opposition? So that was unanimous. Item 13.5, to consider action to approve online coding platform, Code HS Pro for high school use, as presented to the CIA committee this evening.
So moved.
Second.
The rationale for this, it lines up with the change in hardware from moving from the Macs to the Chromebooks. It's required to continue Java coding, and the AP tests are around Java coding. So we would recommend passage.
Any additional questions? All right, so all those in favor? Opposed? That was unanimous. Next item, we have 14.4, calendar and announcements. The calendar is in your attachment there, so you can review that. And again, I think let Heidi know if you're interested in attending the MSBA Fall Conference or the legal updates next week. With that, we'd go to 15. We do not have an executive session this evening, so we are adjourned.